Yes, now, and welcome back to another London Card Special. This is the 12th instalment. I can't believe I'm saying that. It is the start of 2025. It's February now. It's London Card Show season. And before I introduce our returning very, very special guest who's racking up the appearances, just a massive thanks to the guys that will be joining us later on in the episode, which is Third Down UK, for powering up this episode of the Top Loaded podcast. Whether you need card supplies, custom cards, and great preparation kits, whatever it may be, head over to their website or check their store out this weekend at Sandown and use TTP10 for 10% off. And he may have had a name change in the last 3 months, but the one and only Mr. Harry Reynolds, obviously Real Harry's World, the founder, owner, and organizer of the London Card Show, is joining us yet again. So, Harry, welcome back. Happy New Year. But most importantly, how are you doing?
Happy New Year as well, mate. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, good. Thank you. It's always fun and games in the couple weeks and week building up to the show with various different challenges and tasks, but it's all part of the fun and games of organising events and organising Europe's biggest card show. So I wouldn't change any of it for the world.
We won't look too much back on 2024 because that's now it's the last calendar year. But just for you personally, and obviously for the team, how was 2024 for the London Card Show?
It was a year of growth, which I'm really proud to say. It was a year where I think a lot of businesses either sunk or swum. I think was the easiest way of saying it. And we coped fantastically well with an economy which is a bit iffy, people deciding to prioritize their money elsewhere, and the fact that, again, in what we think should be not the weakest show of the year, but certainly the slowest, we've sold out 2 weeks in advance, 6,500 tickets with. Again, we sold another 100 plus on Whatnot, getting us to 6.6. And then we've got some ambassadors, influencers. So we're going to be close to 6.7, 6.8K over the weekend. So we're really proud of ourselves that we managed to keep growing. We've not kind of stuck to, oh yeah, we're going all right. We'll stick to this, or we're just going to carry on at this rate. We keep growing, and like the TCG floor, for example, is a prime example of that.
Yeah, I was going to say, just relating to that Whatnot show, I was in the stream and I've been on some drops for like hype beast trainers and clothing, and I tell you, when you release 10 tickets, I've never seen stuff on Whatnot sell so quick. It shows you just how much the demand is there for the tickets of people who sadly missed out on the first batch when they first went on sale or just before. It's crazy to think of how many more people still want to get along, and I know that's the challenge that you've always been facing, is trying to cope with the demand, but it clearly shows, and testament to you and the team, that the demand is growing every single show.
It's a tricky one because we want as many people to be there as we can, but unfortunately, if we overcapacitate the venue, it's going to jeopardise the people who have bought tickets when they're available, and similarly, it kind of liquidates it a little bit. But more importantly for us, the first point, I don't want the people who have bought tickets, and we do as and what we can. We've introduced afternoon tickets for this upcoming show to really maximise that as well, to see if, like, because we do notice around 1 o'clock it does get a little bit quieter because the people who've got in there early, got what they need to get done, and have gone to watch the football in the afternoon, or they've gone to spend the afternoon with their kids or their wife or their partner, or whatever, may have other things to do. So, yeah, that's another reason why we could get more in. But yeah, it's always nice to get as many people in, but at the same time, we need to have the boundaries. And just a note from me, a massive thank you to the person who we. There's a lot of things in the chat on Whatnot on Friday who was saying, yeah, auction some. We didn't want to feel like we were being extortionate, so we decided to run two VIP tickets for the Saturday, for either day, and the money which was raised would go to charity, and we were going to match it. And somehow the bid went up to £245, which is just staggering. I was a bit emotional. If you go back into Whatnot,
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed to say there was a tear in my eye that someone had bid £245 for a couple VIP tickets, and don't worry, he will be more than welcome to go both days for that, and of course we'll be matching it. So a massive thank you to that person. You know who you are. Is very much appreciated, and it's going to a fantastic cause. So yeah, that's just a little side note for me. But yeah, the Whatnot stream on Friday was a massive success.
Yeah, obviously a couple of members of your team as well, especially James behind the scene, Ducky Cards, doing a brilliant job. I don't know how
Yeah.
I do not know how he was keeping up with that chat, because it was going quick as well, with questions here, there, but every single one somehow he was responding. I still don't know how he quite managed it.
The mod of all mods, I've called him. He's he's an absolute whiz that evening. So a big thank you to everyone.
Yeah, and obviously now moving on to the next installment of the card show, which is obviously this coming Saturday and Sunday, which seems crazy to say already. Obviously, you and the team will be heading down there to start setting up. But how, obviously, from your perspective, how's it looking for this weekend? Obviously, it's another massive sellout, which is great to see. But how is it actually going from your side of things?
It's one of those where the first one of the year is always a bit of a right. Let's set a precedent for the rest of the year. We want to start as we mean to go on, and we weren't expecting, because obviously you look at the months behind us. December is always people prioritize their money going out, celebrating Christmas, all of that. January is always a bit of a tough one because you've been paid early in December. So again, when your bill and your wage comes through, you need to be paying things. So we're beyond grateful. We were beyond not surprised, but yeah, grateful and kind of reveling the fact that people have spending their hard-earned money on tickets, even when it's not as a card well as liquid as it always is throughout the year. So from that perspective, it's a big bonus for us. 6.7 thousand people total we're expecting, so that's a big plus. We're the afternoon tickets, again, it's a new addition, always growing. You know us. The TCG floor was a big success last time. We've slightly changed the islands down there to get a few more islands in, get capacity up down there a little bit more. We've worked out a system so it's more flowing, so you won't always come in upstairs. There's a downstairs entrance, and sometimes when you're upstairs, you will even be asked to go through the TCG floor just to make sure the flow is a little bit more fluid, and the TCG floor is getting sufficient attention. Because again, even if you don't no interest in the TCG floor, you can just walk straight through. So all these kind of things where we're learning the whole time. But yeah, we're very grateful. We've got Tops coming again, setting up whatnot, Golden. The biggest companies in the world are going to be there, and a lot of them have signed on for quite a long time. So yeah, we're very grateful.
As I say, it's fantastic to hear their names returning to such a successful show. But I've got to say, I poked my head in the TCG floor, and it was I stepped back for a second, because it kind of, you see the progression of the show from where it was when it first debuted at Sandown, being downstairs. And then I walked up the little staircase next to it, and then you walk up, and I think that's when you truly realise the scale difference between that downstairs and upstairs, because you can barely see the end of the room when you go upstairs. I'm like, wow, I didn't realise actually how big it is up there in comparison.
I think a lot. So recently, when we were setting up downstairs, and one of the new sponsors and new vendors came on the Friday, and they went to the downstairs room, and they thought that was a show. So I brought them upstairs, and their face was like, "Oh my god! Like what? Like as you've said, it's a bit you take aback, and it's one of those where I'm never going to compare us to the National, but it's one of those where if you haven't been to a card show before, it's getting to the point where quite a few people have said it's actually quite overwhelming, and it's quite intimidating at times. So again, there's no such thing as a bad question. If your first card show or your 10th, please ask us questions. The best thing about card shows is everyone is there for the same exact reason. So for anyone who's a bit worried or going into New Year trying to do card shows, I promise you, just know what you want to spend your money on. So don't go in there kind of thinking within the first 15 minutes your budget's gone. Like it would be very unlucky if that you went for a lap and that card was gone, but chances are you'll find something similar. And just ask questions. The vendors I don't know a single vendor there that doesn't like a good chat, whether it's about the cards or whether it's about life. So ask lots of questions. But yeah, that coming up from downstairs is it's quite cool, and a bit of to get people carry on listening. There will be an announcement later on about downstairs, and about the show in general. So stay tuned. We've got a bit of an exclusive for you guys.
I was going to say, another thing I've really noticed, especially throughout the 2024 calendar year in the shows, is the growth of amount of families that I do see attending the show. And whereas before it definitely was quite a few, but now it seems like there's a lot of families, whether it's the parents, the kids, multiple kids, whatever it is. But the kids zone as well, I think, is proving so valuable to the show, because you go past it, you can see them all wet. The kind of might have one kid sitting there who's drawing, and then you see the other one run round, get a card, come back, start drawing. It's such a great addition. And obviously, Hector the Collector walking around as well.
Boy,
That family feel is really what brings people back to the show, in my opinion, as well.
it's something which Katie, I'm not going to take a whole load of credit for Katie. When she came on, I said, let's get more creative here. Let's change it from a card show to an event, something which we can get a family to, something which the dad comes and the missus is giving him grief because she's got to look after the kid for the day. He can bring the kid along, and then all of a sudden the whole family's come along. We've got the retro gaming area where it's free to use, and there's kids spend hours in there, parents spend hours in there, so adults spend hours in there, so it's good for everyone. Like, we've got the booth where you can take pictures and print off. That's free of charge again. Like you said, the Kids Zone, Katie puts a hell of a lot of time into that lineup, reaching out to just about every sponsor and every non-sponsor to see what we could do, and kind of time it out. So again, it's free of charge. If you want to join the kids club, I think it's £2, and you get a drawstring bag, a bottle, and every time you come to the show, you'll get a chocolate bar from the tuck shop. And again, you don't have to have that to be at the Kids Zone. You can just chill there, you can do some drawing, take part in any activity. And I think that's the beauty of it. There's so many additional things included in the price, and from a family perspective, we see massive growth in the family area and tickets, which is such a bonus. And like you say, it gives a feel good feeling to the show that it's not just a load of people trying to make some money. It's people actually there trying to have a good time as well.
Yeah, as I was saying, I think another thing that's growing in success every single time is the actual stage as well, the main stage. Always has brilliant stuff on, whether it's Q&As, whether it's different events, different people giving speeches and stuff like that. But it's so good because you can learn so much from it as well. I remember a couple of shows ago, you had PSA on talking. You're going to have JSA on talking this time about autographs. The Sub Centre will be taking part again this time. But that one is so valuable because sometimes people just want 10, 15 minutes to sit down and relax. But I have done that before. I've sat down there and relaxed 10 minutes, but you end up learning more stuff to take away from you. Especially some of these companies got so much expertise that they don't mind giving out and helping, whether it's how you pre-grade or what to do in this situation, that it's such a valuable asset as well for people just to sit down, relax, but also taking more information and go home actually have learnt something as well.
Well, that's the thing. We try and do. We don't just shove things on the main stage for the fun of it. Yes, we have interactive things up there where kids can get involved, or it's live whatnot streams or pack openings, and we'll give the stuff out. Knowledge is important in this hobby, and it's a lot of the things isn't just who you know, it's what you know as well. And a lot of the time people have come to me, like you have said, that's really interesting. I haven't really ever come to a show to listen to them or to understand this. And all of a sudden the seats at the main stage have gone from being quite quiet to being reasonably busy. And of course there'll be some things which are more popular than others. That's life. But we understand that knowledge is really important, and these people who are willing to take their time at the show to pass that knowledge on is priceless, in my opinion, especially for the people who are from America, like the likes of PSA when they came over. And I didn't even know the process of. I was there listening next to him, and even though I was asking the questions, I was the one asking, because half the questions I wanted to know, let alone the people in the audience. And same with JSA about their process of authentication, and one which I think a lot of the people in the UK would like to know, because there's a lot of things in the UK which aren't quite up to regulation, and a lot of the things in the UK where people do have questions. So this might answer some of them. It may cause more questions for the UK scene. We don't know, but there's it's really good insight. And anyone who is tired, as Ron said, don't sit down in the trade area or anywhere. Come sit down on the main stage and learn something as well.
Yeah, that's the perfect interlude as well to talk about the trade area, because I think that's another thing that every show, I remember we spoke about when you done the first trade night at the thing, but now trading is actually such a big aspect of not even just the shows, but actual hobby experience within the UK, which is fantastic. And people now go thinking, I will take these cards with me to try and trade. People are understanding the trade values as well. And seeing that area so busy of people aged anything from 5 all the way up to 80, depending on, it can be Pokemon, it could be sports. It's just great because you bring people together over their love of cards. And it's not even, you don't even see money transfer in hands most of the time. You just see people just wanting to get cards into new collectors' hands and then get new ones. It's such a good atmosphere in that area, and there's some brilliant deals that go down there as well, John.
Yeah. It gives a real authentic collectible kind of
Yeah.
vibe, a real authentic, like, oh yeah, collector's vibe. It's really nice. And of course, what started off as just a trade zone, and then we introduced a trade night, and the trade zone's always absolutely packed. And then the trade night is just every show we're having to put more tables and more chairs out. We're expecting, I think, 600-700 people at the trade night this time, which is really good. Again, massive thank you to PSA, who are the official trade night sponsors. But we're slightly adding something in. Is that exclusive? It's not going to be called a trade day. It's going to be another day of the show, but this London Card Show will be opening on Friday going forward. So it will just be what is the TCG floor. It won't just be for TCG. So we'll just be opening the Isha Hall up. There'll be a big trade area, but there will be tables and attendees. Now it's to be confirmed, the timings. It's probably going to be from 2 until 8 p.m. to allow people to take that half day to get there. And even if they're an hour late, they're still going to have 4 or 5 hours to set up or walk around. So it's going to be a full day. It's going to be a lot cheaper. We think it's only going to be 50 quid for a table, again, to be finalized. And something like £8-9 for a ticket to walk around. But again, it's just that vibe of, we know a lot of people take the day off and get there early and see their mates there and make it a longer weekend. So we thought, why not accommodate that from a card show perspective? We're going that direction. We hate having to turn people away for selling out on the Saturday and the Sunday. So why not add an additional day where maybe the people who are coming on the Saturday and Sunday can't make the Friday, which again opens up that possibility. So everything's to be finalized, but we can definitely say that London Card Show will be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday now.
Yeah, that's going to be very intriguing and interesting. But there's another way of, I know we've spoke about it quite a few times in the specials that we've done over years, of how and what the next steps are. And obviously this is a clear progression in the natural progression now of the London Card Show. Obviously moving, it was 1 day, then it went to a 1 day trade night, then you got 2 days with trade night. Now obviously 3 days with a trade night. So it's just clear progression, but also does show now in the UK we are getting to a level of, before it was days. I remember when we first ever spoke about the show downstairs, and it was, it's going to get to a capacity at some point downstairs. And now we're saying it's just crazy to think in like the 3-4 years of growth, how big it's actually getting in the UK. And I think it's a true representation as well of just how big it actually is within the UK now, because I think we still do take it for granted a little bit how much the hobby has grown in such a short period of time.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. A lot of the Americans, certainly American businesses, whenever I go over there and I'll speak about the show, and I'll tell them we get 6,500, 7,000 people. They go, what? And I say, yeah, that's just over a weekend, like nothing on Friday either. So it is starting to draw the attention. Like you got the likes of Zion Cases who are going to be present at the show as well, the biggest card case company in the world, and they're so keen to get more involved. Golden, who has signed on for the entire 2025. It's just endless. These big like fanatics knocking on the door, both from an event perspective and from collectibles perspective. Whatnot, again, the biggest streaming site in the world. There's all these companies which are starting to appreciate that maybe not just the London Card Show, but the UK is certainly a force to be reckoned with on the global scene. Europe as a whole is growing, but I think UK is now that step ahead of Germany, step ahead of the Netherlands, ahead of France, just because of that language barrier. It doesn't have that issue. It's the liquidity in the UK is growing, and so the shows. Like again, there's some other shows which are popping up in the UK, both small and big, but we're just trying to spearhead it, lead the way, the London Card Show, and really try and prove that the UK as a whole is a force to be reckoned with, and hopefully get some more of the big influencers over, which I know are certainly keen. I haven't spoken to them in Dallas.
Yeah, like I say, I think it's really promising. I know we say this for 2024, but 2025 is a really promising year, obviously, yet again for the hobby, that we're taking it to that next level. Like you say, going to another day for the show. People and companies are wanting to come over to the UK where they was tentative at first. So obviously, the last question, obviously, looking ahead to 2025, obviously, you've just made that announcement about the next show, but how much are you looking forward to, obviously, this next calendar year, the 4 shows at Sandown? Because it's going to be another great year, not just for the hobby, but for the London Card Show.
This is the thing. We're always trying to grow, and I've always said that if you're standing still, you're moving backwards. In my point of view, and for us, we just want to baby steps. And I know this having on Friday certainly is a baby step. It's quite a big step, but I thrive when I'm up against it. And I'm not saying we're up against it, but it's another big task. It's bearing in mind the Friday it's still the day where we do a lot of the preparation for upstairs. So having to organise and run a show day on the Friday as well as prepare everything upstairs is going to be a hell of a task for my team, but I've no doubt we'll pull it off. And similarly, any feedback at all, we're always listening. So the Saturday of the last show, we had some mixed feedback about the TCG room because it was new and people didn't know it was there, and we just wanted to ensure people that yes, it's new. Whenever something's new, it doesn't run swimmingly. It ran very well, and lo and behold, on the Sunday when we said, you know what, we'll almost do an IKEA kind of like you have to go one way around the venue, and we sent a lot of the people who were coming through upstairs, downstairs as well, so they got that. This is where it is. So maybe not just to show them where it is, but to understand that the show is 2 floors now, and I think it worked quite well. But we're always growing, we're always understanding that we may not be able to perfect things first time.
Yeah, it's ever a learning process. Like I say, there's never going to be something that runs perfectly smooth. There's always going to be bits to tinker, bits to add, bits to remove. And that's the great thing about seeing it over a year. But obviously, just moving our attention back to this weekend at Sandown, obviously, it's going to be another great show. Like you say, tickets are sold out again, which is just incredible. Yes. But is there any little remarks you want to, like any comments you want to make just to close off about the upcoming show this weekend?
Yeah, unfortunately, we are sold out. So please don't show up if you don't have a ticket or if you haven't spoken to the team prior. I know there's a handful of people who have moved tickets over or have reached out, and for whatever reason, they will be able to buy them on the day. But unless you have prior communication with the show, please don't show up, because we're going to have to be the bad guys and say, unfortunately, we can't let you in. So there's that. As always, upstairs, downstairs, do have a good look around everywhere. We've got so many team members, so if you ever feel lost or you don't know what you're doing or where you're going, just reach out before, during, or after the show. But yeah, as always, we just want everyone to have a good time. That's the end of the like my priority. I know Katie and James with the exact same mindset. We do what we do because putting an event on like this isn't easy, but at the same time, it's very rewarding at the end of the show where everything's gone to plan, and touch with this one will as well, and we get the good remarks and the happy feedback from people. So we've kind of stationed a lot of the genres within the sports together this time. Like I know the boy himself here is setting up for the first time. He's going to be there with his with arguably there's going to be a 4 or 5 tables with a women's soccer or football corner. So that's going to be quite an eyeful, which is going to be very cool to see. And that's what we're going with. We try to put things together this time, even more like we've gone from sports to even closer genres. The few baseball we've got together, we put them together. So again, any feedback like that, do just pass it on. And similarly, reach out to us and let us know what time you think the trade night or the trade day or the show, whatever we're going to call it on the Friday, will be. Initially, we think it should be 2 till 8. But again, feedback on that is much appreciated. But yeah, other than that, look forward to seeing you all at Sandown.
Yeah, like I say, I can't wait. Obviously, I will be having a table, which is crazy to say. I still can't get my head over that. I probably will not get my head over it until I'm behind it on Saturday. But like I say, obviously, a massive thanks for joining us yet again. Obviously, 12th appearance as well, which is absolutely remarkable. And that is just London Card Show specials. That's not other appearances, which is incredible. Like I say, to you and the team, a massive good luck for the 2025, but also this weekend. Most importantly, we'll see you at Sandown this weekend.
We will indeed. Thanks again, mate.
And now up next, third down for this more bumper episode. It just keeps on coming. And yet again, a massive thanks to Harry for joining us for the first part. And now introducing our next special guest with the backdrop now. Every time they join, it's a more professional setup. So GBW, you're coming last this. It's not even got a better setup than this, but it is the one and only boys from third down. It's Chris. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, not bad, but you can't beat it, can you? Look, lovely little plant pot.
It's incredible.
You know I know I've got my little Alan Tishmarsh out. Best thing about it, for those that are watching, it's in a basketball.
Oh, it's even better. Oh, I've just seen the other one's a helmet as well. Oh,
yeah. I call that one Ben. We've not knocked it off. We're all right.
But no, like I say, it seems crazy that it's already 3 months since the last one. But before we get into this upcoming weekend, how was the last London card show for you guys?
Well, it seems like it was like 5 minutes ago, doesn't it? Yeah, really good, really busy. They seem to get busier and busier and busier. Every single one. Like we had a few new bits at the last London show, which went down really well. We had the graded guard for the first time that went down an absolute storm. We took more singles and more actual cards. Obviously, since the shop had recently opened, they went down well. So it was nice to sort of tie everything together. So yeah, looking forward to getting back there this weekend and having another very busy 2 days.
Yeah, obviously, before we talk about the actual tables itself, like I say, every show that happens, like you add something new, you work out if it works or not. But how does that work now for you? Because obviously you've done it so many times. Like you say, Grail Guards have gone in and a big success. But how do you even start working out what to take with you? I know we've said it at the laugh room before about loading the van up, but it must be now that you've got so much different stock. Like where do you even start thinking about what to bring and what not to bring and just where it all goes?
I sit in the corner of the room and rock. Ben will come out with mad ideas on what we can do different and what sort of mad things he wants to bring to it. And then tell me it'll be a certain amount, and then I've got to add Ben tax onto that, which is a genuine thing, is Ben tax. So, yeah, who knows what extra bits will continue to come throughout the year. We have something new coming this weekend that's sort of undecidedly decided. So that'll be getting announced over the next few days. Ben and Dan are very excited about it, and I get given half the information because they know I'll tell everyone exactly what's going to go on before they want to tell everyone, which is it's always good to be left in the dark. I'm just left controlling stock, so making sure we've got top loaders for the weekend. Oh yeah, and we've got a shotgun case. That's good. That's something different. I know.
Is there a shotgun? Please, can we just specify there's no shotgun to go with it?
No, I can't bring a shotgun to London. Come on. You're allowed it in the north. There's a farm next door. No, it's basically been changed into a card case. So foam inserts, rows for the cards to go in. It's like your normal Xeon case, but on steroids.
Yeah, liking it a lot. Not that we're suggesting any athlete could be on steroids as well, not like Zion Williamson, wherever it was, but that's a story for another day. Obviously, you have Ben over your side at the moment. Obviously, the card cleaning goes down an absolute treat every London card show. Seems every time I go past, there's another card in front of him or taking another submission in. But how's that going as well, card shows? Because obviously, that must be a process that gets tinkered slightly at every show. But it seems like every time I ask you, it seems like there's been another massive card, or not even just one at a London card show. You're like, oh yeah, we just had these casually dropped off, and then you just go, you open up the case and you go, yeah, there's a few cards in there to clean.
Yeah, it's always a fun game. How many Messi or Ronaldo autos are we going to get this week? So yeah, he's been doing his pre-card show workouts. He's been doing his bicep curls, his hand stretches, his shoulder rotations. So yeah, he'll be in a full cleaning form. We've got him some fresh marigolds for the weekend. And there's a couple of little bits he's going to have with him to hand out to people that are getting the cards cleaned as well.
Oh, lovely. As well, I know obviously you just mentioned there with the shop and obviously now with singles, but how does that go for you last time as well? Because that must be quite a different experience as well, having actual cards to sell. Because you can kind of be you're literally a one-stop shop. Someone could buy the card, then buy a new supply to put it in. If they need it cleaned at the same time, they can literally just stay at the table and take it from one card into in a whole new different case, and now clean as well, ready to get graded. So how is that for you? And what stock to take? Because obviously it's quite a different aspect to the suppliers.
Yeah, it's as a collector, it's a brilliant place to be back in, actually taking cards to a card show. So it's been great to sort of add that back in. So yeah, we sort of just try and take a mixture of everything: sports, American sports, soccer, and then your Pokemon and your TCGs. Take a bit of something for everyone, and then have that all set out. Have your flick throughs, have your showcases. So have something there for everyone, and have that, obviously, that aspect of you can buy the card, you can get it cleaned, and then we can get it straight to the sub centre for you and off for grading.
As I say, the location of your table recently, I think it's been one of the best locations can be. Obviously, by the doors, which in the winter can be a bit of a worrying thing, but when it gets a bit warmer, it's good. But I hear there's been, sadly, Ace Grading had to pull out for the show. So there has been an acquisition from you on deadline day of 4 more tables. So there's going to be a lovely long stretch of third down. So how's that going to be for you as well, having a whole row to yourself?
I'm going to get the steps in. I reckon that's safe to say. So you'll have Ben perched on the ends, cleaning away from probably 10 o'clock on Saturday morning till 9 o'clock Saturday night when Harry and Katie kick us all out at the end of trade night. And then we'll still planning on the full setup of how it's going to run. But having all the cards, the grading supplies, the graded cards, accessories, and all your standard supplies all laid out. Your customs, all your custom stuff, your backboards, your mats, your stands. It'll allow us to really showcase everything and give it a bit more space as well. Because I understand as well that it can be a bit overbearing, the fact there's so much stuff all there in front of you. We can sort of space it out a bit more.
Yeah, and I was going to say, it's always great that you can really showcase what you do, because even just the customization aspect alone of the stands, the mats, the backboards, it's so hard to really get across what you're trying to show without having that space. And obviously with space being so limited at the card show, you can probably even think about bringing that extra few things that normally would just be left behind or left in the shop. But now you can be like, you know what, we can bring it with us. So I don't know how you're going to organise the vans for 8 tables, but that should be a video in itself, I would say.
I'm sure there will be a plan. We've got some of us wonderful helpers on Thursday night and Friday morning to get the van loaded before we hit the road and the inevitable traffic jams on the way down, to be down at Sandown for early Friday afternoon to get set up. We definitely couldn't do this setup on just a Saturday morning. Not a chance that would happen. So there's even more time pressure on making sure we're out the doors and on the road just after 9 o'clock on Friday morning to get down and get set up what we can on Friday, just for the finishing touches Saturday morning before those VIPs walk through the door.
Yeah, as I say, it's always that hour, 2 hours go very quick on the Saturday morning. By the time you turn around, people are already walking up the table. But obviously now with the shop, it adds a new aspect as well for you at card shows. Obviously advertising the store, but also being able to get some new stock for the store. So is that something as well that you've got to look at if you can get away from the table, potentially having a look around, seeing what's available to actually bring it back up north with you and actually have some new stuff to display in your actual store now?
Yeah, so there's a massive plan to get a good restock for the shop of sort of some sports cards, quite a bit of Pokemon cards, because they're really popular in the shop. We've had a few customers that can't make it to the show that are after certain pieces to finish master sets or finish collections. So we'll have some of the lads on the lookout for those over the weekend. But we'll be there sort of buying and selling and doing all that jazz all weekend long. And with a nice budget to go at as well, which is very nice indeed.
I was going to say, it sounds fantastic. But obviously, just moving away from the show, how's everything with the shop going? Because we're seeing a lot of content on social media, and it's looking like it's a roaring success. And it seems like every time I see pictures and videos of it, it's getting busier and busier.
Yeah, so especially weekends are really busy. Even tonight and Monday night, we've had 7 or 8 people in the shop picking up Pokemon, your sports, Magic the Gathering, all sorts of stuff. So it's really nice to see sort of the community getting behind it and people getting into it. They've not been into it before or have seen it about, but not really understood what's gone on. Being able to come in, spend the time in the shop, spend time with those guys in here and talk about things and work things out, and allows people to sort of access grading, which before they didn't necessarily know how to do. And then add cards and stuff like that to their collections that they just didn't know existed, or especially the kids with the match attacks. They thought match attacks were the only cards you could get, where they've now come in and honestly at the minute, kids and patch cards in here, you can't get enough of them. They just want patch cards of the favourite players in the Prem or the favourite players out in Europe. It's what they're really after.
As I say, it must be so nice to see people of all backgrounds, ages, whatever it may be, coming into the store. It's like one of them that everyone can step in the store and even like the card shows and learn something. And like you say, people don't know there's just match attacks, or people collecting Pokemon might not know there's sport. So it must be quite nice as well being aids and help people out discovering completely new collections, new type of card. Because no doubt it's like I would say cricket as well. A lot of people probably are creative fanatics, probably collect all the memorabilia, but then don't know that there's cards. So being able to open their eyes up must be quite rewarding as well.
Yeah, I've corrupted a few into the cricket world. Can't beat a little Sunday afternoon box opening with someone in the shop when I've convinced them it's a great idea to go for one. Or picking up the autos, as we all know, I've opened way too many of those 100 boxes than I probably should have done. But yeah, there's plenty of cricket cards. I'll be sure to bring some down with us this weekend as well.
Yeah, no doubt. He's probably try and tempt me into some. I might have to counteract you and bring some from my table as well, and then we can just stare at each other like, we know what's going to happen here. But obviously, moving back to the London Card Show, obviously for people who might not have, it could be their first show, it could be their 10th, it could be whatever. Is there any words of advice that you'd like to give someone who might be going to, like you say, could be going first time, 10th time, what to do at a show, what not to do? Because it can be overwhelming, even for people who have been going for years.
Come to third down, obviously, number one. But yeah, take your time.
Away.
Yeah, straight away, straight to it. Have a bit of a plan. Don't rush into out. Take your time. I know it doesn't feel like a long time. It's seven between but by the time you get in there, 5 to 7 hours you've got to go around all 350 million tables because it's massive. But you have got more time than you think. Just take your time. Have a plan of what you're looking for. Don't just buy the first card because you've seen it and you like it and blow your budget by 10 because then the rest of the day could be a bit more miserable. Take your time, have a plan, and just enjoy it. Talk to people. There's lots of new faces there. You can make friends that last years, and then really enjoy trade night and make your way to a pub.
Yeah, well, I think that is the best piece of advice at the end. Obviously, drink responsibly, everyone, but that beer at the end of the day does go an absolute treat, we can say. But obviously, is there anything you might be looking to pick up? Obviously, it's Super Bowl Sunday upcoming, so potentially looking at some NFL cards. Obviously, not a certain superstar who plays in Philadelphia, but anything NFL-wise maybe this weekend in preparation for the big event on Sunday night?
No, that still hurts, does the Barkley trade. It's not getting easier, and the better he plays, the more it hurts, really. It's like breaking up with that girlfriend and then she gets you like some superstar footballer and takes over the world and you then have to watch her jetting around living in Monaco. It's never happened, but I imagine that's how it feels. Mainly looking sort of Pokemon, your full arts, all that later, more recent release stuff. As well as your sort of Premier League footballers, your patches, autos, all that sort of stuff. And then just cool bits that are a bit different. And then, sort of NFL-wise, like any rookies. And then same with that, like patch cards, autos, all that sort of stuff. People can't get enough of it. They love it.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it my last question? I've asked this for everyone who's vended how much of a learning process is it every single show, and how important it is to always reflect on that last few shows to take into obviously this first show of 2025, but also going forward, because you have to plan quite far ahead with some of these shows as well.
Yeah, so we always sit down after a show and sort of really hypercritically go through like each stage of what the table is and which parts we think have done well. We sort of break it down into like supplies, graded cards, accessories, cleaning, the cards now, binders, extra sort of stuff like that. Work out which bits have gone well, which bits we need to work harder on how to get it out there. We've got a big push on sort of Saturday morning cards this time round. We've had them there the last few times, but not made a sort of big enough probably song and dance about them for people to sort of see them and understand what they are. All those that were there in August still have sort of seen the great curator there and sort of seen those first Mickey Mouse ones that he had out where we've now got obviously quite a few more sets that have come out. We've got a few boxes left of some of the older stuff, and we've just got some of the latest release of Smokey Bear, but we've also got some Street Fighter left. We've got a few extra in to have for London because those sold out. So I think we've got 4 or 5 boxes of them to bring to London with us. So it'd be nice to sort of put a spotlight back on that product. Obviously, Dan took the time to come over with the other Americans last August. So it'd be nice to sort of put a spotlight back on them on the table.
Yeah, I was going to say they were great fun to see because I hadn't seen them in person, and I think that was one of the things you mentioned as well. That it was the first time a lot of people were actually seeing the Saturday morning cards, and people probably skeptical. But I remember you opening up one of them and showing it, and how impressed so many people were with the cards. And like you say, it's just exposure, and I think that's the greatest thing about these card shows. You can expose people to new products and new designs, whatever it may be, and whereas online, you don't really always get the true representation of how good something looks until you hold it in your hand. You're like, wow, that's really good. So it was that kind of that concept as well, the Saturday morning stuff, that quite a few people see it and then went, you know what, I actually do quite like this, and get involved. And probably, no doubt, with everything else in cards, once you get involved with one, it normally spirals and you have a couple, and then the next release, it seems like something that people could really get behind.
Yeah, you need to collect them all, don't you? Yeah, I think it's one of them products when you see the cards, when you see the box and the full presentation of it, you can't really say no. And we've worked really hard with Dan as well, so we've managed to get the price point down on them. So they're now sort of £40 for the single cards, and then for the Street Fighter, which is 2 cards in the box, they're 80. So we've worked really hard. We've sort of upped our commitment levels of the product since we've helped it grow in the UK. Now got a couple of breakers that break them and whatnot as well. So it's allowed us to up that commitment level, but also bring that price down to sort of allow the UK to get these boxes at a much more affordable cost.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And obviously, for final words of this segment, obviously for you, anything you'd like to say to anyone coming along to the card show, or even not even just coming on to the card show, but might want to check out the store, where your website as well?
Yeah, check us out. It's Third Down UK on Instagram. Third Down Trading Card Shop and whatnot. The shop's in Haworth, West Yorkshire, up in Yorkshire. Weird. And yeah, www.thirddown.co.uk. Everything's on there apart from the cards that are in the physical shop. We just don't have them on there. It'd be too hard to manage. Be carnage. So yeah, come along to the shop for all the cards, or yeah, you'll see us at London and yeah, many other shows throughout the year.
Like I say, a massive thanks, obviously, to the boys at Third Down for powering up every single episode podcast. But most importantly, look forward to seeing you this Saturday, and for other people this Sunday. But most importantly, good luck for the shop. But most importantly, good luck for the show the upcoming weekend.
Awesome. Thanks, mate. See you on Saturday.
See you on Saturday. Oh. Yes, now welcome back to the third part of the London Card Show special. And it's a person, for the first time, I can say, on the same island at the card show, but recently did leave these isles to see a card show over in America, in Dallas, which we'll get into very shortly. But most importantly, Mr. GBW, how are you, my friend?
I am fantastic. And technically, it's the second time I've been on the same island, or third time. Probably second time, because famously Great Britain is an island, and we are sharing that island together. But yeah, I'm doing great, thank you. I'm sure we're going to chat about Dallas at some point, because that was good fun. Changed my perspective on cards. But yeah, how are you?
No, I'm very well. Obviously, it seems like, well, we always do say this, it comes around really quick, these shows, but they really do. We were speaking this past weekend at the Trade We store that we went to. We were saying how it's come around really quickly, and obviously both being vendors this time, which is going to be really interesting. But before we do talk about the upcoming London Card Show, what to expect from both of our tables, just a quick one. Obviously, as we did mention, and we've seen from your YouTube, from obviously your socials as well, you come back from Dallas recently. How was that to experience a show in a completely different part of the world?
Well, as I said, it changed my perspective on cards quite a lot. The Americans, I think what I concluded is that they have a lot more money than the Brits. I mean, it is a much bigger country, so that is completely fair enough. But yeah, the deals were just flowing the whole time. There's people negotiating. There's people comping. Right? It's crazy. If someone comes up to your table, chances are they will buy something. And if you're in negotiation, the deal will get done. regardless of it might take 30 minutes, it might take 5 minutes, but a deal will be done. It will be struck. In England, does that happen? Do people just? I feel like people just walk away after maybe 10 minutes if they can't agree a price, they can't, settle on something. They just walk away. But Americans, they want to get the deals done. They want new cards. They want to move cards on. It's fluid. I think that's one of the main things I found out as well. It's a fluid market. Certain players move well out there. Obviously, Yamal is crazy hyped out there, as he should be, because here's the next big thing. Messi cards, or loads of them, obviously, being in the MLS. But yeah, soccer, very hard to come by in an American card show. So because me and Harry, who obviously runs London Card Show, we had a table there and people knew we were soccer buyers. They literally came up to us in their dozens with all the soccer cards they had to try and sell them to us. And, we got some great deals done with some of the cards. They literally came up to us and handed to us on the plate and said, buy these cards, give us an offer. So, I thoroughly recommend it. If anyone hasn't been to a US show before, get it done, do it. I'm doing the National as well this summer, and I honestly cannot wait.
I was going to say, having that perspective, obviously being at a show where there's not much soccer, we kind of see now where the perspective of like Sunday League when they come over, Troy comes over, and they say they walk around looking at all the football cards, and it wasn't like that when they're back home. But for you, is there anything you're going to take away from that experience of vendoring at Dallas to bring to the London Card Show that you might not have done in the past?
Definitely think my negotiation skills were better than what they were. I remember one time at a London Card Show, someone offered me 45 and I misheard him and said, yeah, we'll do 40. So I instantly knocked down £5 off the price, which was offered. So that got a few people laughing. So yeah, hopefully my negotiations got better. I feel like I'll be stronger, more firmer when it comes to making a deal. And yeah, I'm open to potentially buying stuff as well. I feel like people underestimate or don't realize the power of comps. Some people will get offended if you offer 80%, but people aren't just going to buy cards to keep for the PC. People might want to move them on, make money. That's what I found out in the States. People want to buy cards to then move on. It's less about buying cards for the PC. So in the UK, it's a little bit different because there's a lot more buyers to buy for their collections. So I guess that's how I'll change my negotiation stance. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I was going to say, for anyone who hasn't seen, obviously, if you head over to your Instagram or TikTok, you show off some of the cards that you're bringing along with you on Saturday and Sunday. I've got to say, there's some very nice cards in there, not just raw, but graded as well. And I think that's one thing that we've both learned over the years of going to the London Card Show and other shows, that some people prefer raw cards, some people prefer graded cards. So having that array of different ones, it works so well. And I think that's what we plan, because what I didn't realise until vendoring for the first time, you need to create a plan for these shows. You can't just go in with willy-nilly and just go, you know what I have is what I take in. You have to work it out, plan in advance. So is that something as well now that you do a lot more, and what you recommend for other people might be vendoring for the first time or even potentially thinking about vendoring, have a clear plan going into it, because it can be very overwhelming, not just walking around, but actually just sitting there behind the table, moving bits on, picking bits up and trading as well.
Well, yeah, you've got to know what you're going to have on the table and how you're going to lay it out as well, because that's quite important. You've got to have the cards quite sought after cards, prominent. You want people to see these cards. So you've got to think about the table layout, how you're going to let people flick through the storage. So obviously flick through boxes are quite big, quite a big addition. A lot of people like to use them. Yeah, definitely need a plan. Otherwise, you're going in there on the Saturday morning and you don't know where to start. And trust me, time goes quickly when you're setting up. Before you know it, VIPs are in. And if you're not already set up, you're missing out on the big deals, because the VIP buyers, they're there to buy cards. That's why they got VIP tickets.
Yeah. As I say, that's one thing I can't wait for, is to experience it from a completely different perspective. Normally I'm walking around finding other people cards to buy, but now hopefully come people buy my cards, and then, like you say, it frees up funds as well during the day. If you are selling that you'd be like, you know what, it could even be a case of the person sitting next to you, which no doubt in my case, having She Scores cards next to me, that I will probably end up selling a card, turning 90 degrees and being like, I want to buy that card, or doing a free like 180 and coming over to your table. But that builds into another thing that we speak so much about, and I always recommend, it's just building that rapport between other collectors. And for us as people who have been to quite a few shows, you get to know everyone who's there every show, and oh, you know what, I've got this card, I know someone will be interested in. Like for you, for example, in the past when you've had women's cards to sell and it's like an Arsenal women's player, soon to be Chloe Kelly, for all of your Chloe Kelly cards that you're going to sell me or anything like that. But you know that if they're going to a show, to have that out, have that to catch their eye. So it's about learning your audience as well. And it's very different each show. Like, for example, when we do go to a Dublin show in a few weeks, the audience is completely different for that one. But the London one is quite a unique, like, people, because it literally, someone will collect everything at that show, it seems. That you need a bit of everything if you're going to do that well.
Yeah, you will also get quite a few people who stream on Whatnot and other platforms who are going there to buy in bulk, to then sell on their own live streams and stuff like that. So, yeah, if you have a mix of everything, I'm sure you'll do fine. As we found out in recent years, the raw cards seem to move better at London, but then again, other years I've sold lots of slabs, so you just don't know until it is the weekend or it's Sunday evening. That's when you know how much you've made, what you've sold, what you've got left. And I mean, it would apply for you as well with the women's cards. We've got to get lucky. We've got to get lucky with some women's collectors, because Dallas, there was absolutely none. Zero women's card collectors, which was a shame, because people will have seen myself and Dub. We have some very good women's slabs, raw cards. There was no interest at all. People may have looked at them and said, oh, look, Bon Mati, PSA 10, Sapphire Selections, black out of 10. No interest, just no interest at all. So we hopefully, fingers crossed for us, there are some big women's card collectors there who appreciate the women's game, because I just feel like it's a good time to be buying women's cards, considering how much the game is growing year on year. So, I mean, and there's still very limited sets out there as well. So to get some short print cards, I mean, head over to She Scores Cards, your table, our table. Hopefully, as I say, it'll be a good weekend for the women's game.
Yeah, definitely. And I think another thing that obviously you're heavily based upon, obviously the content scene, something that I'm trying to merge into, and a lot more people are going into that scene. But these shows are fantastic for content as well. I think that's one people forget or take it for granted, that people are there selling, but also getting content for people back home who can't quite make it to the show, or even abroad. So I know we've seen lots of great videos from you. We'll see some including your breakfasts and your pancakes and everything like that over in the States. But when it comes to your content at the shows, obviously your main goal at the first is, right, got to focus on the table selling. But do you enjoy as well the aspect of creating content at the shows? Because for me, it feels like it can be used to look back on in future shows, future years. But it's actually quite cool just to watch other people's perspective of the same show in the same room, but can be a completely different day.
Yeah, well, I like to watch Dan's vlogs when he does the London Card Show. He always does a good job. And I, because I didn't vlog the last one, which is in August, so I missed out the November one being on the Match Attacks tour. So I watched my May vlog back a couple of days ago, and just to give an idea of how I had my table laid out, if I've got room for however many flick throughs. So yeah, it's good if you're new to London Card Show, or if you want to remind yourself, watch some old vlogs, see the perspective of vendors, buyers as well. So you've got vlogs from people walking around, vlogs from vendors like ourselves. In terms of what content I'm going to do this time, it's going to be a vendor POV vlog video across the whole weekend. So I'm trying to get as many deals done as possible on camera. So if you do like to come over to my table and want to pick up a card, chances are you will be on camera. So say hello, wave to the camera. But yeah, I am looking forward to that. It'll be the first time properly doing that for a whole weekend. And fingers crossed it should do well. But the short form content is always there for the taking, and London Card Show seems to attract views when it comes to the short form content. So don't be afraid. Pick up a camera, pick up your phone. A phone can literally do anything. You don't even have to, film yourself recording. You can do a voiceover when you're back home. So very straightforward. And the more content, the better. The more eyes on cards, the better long term for us as collectors.
Yeah, I was going to say, and moving on to our last one, because I know we both do love a London Card Show pickup, and with some of our best cards in our collections have come from the London Card Show. I've been very fortunate to pick up a few like Arsenal Women's One-Off Ones, to name a few. But obviously, no matter how much we go there to sell cards, it's always going to happen that we do pick up at least one card. When we normally mean one card, it's normally more than one, and sometimes it's wax as well. But obviously for you, with the Chloe Kelly collection now, getting quite intriguing, obviously, now if I move to Arsenal. The odds of the Charlie Austin popping up at London, very low. But is there anything else that you've had your eyes on recently that you're thinking about picking up? I know our good friend Martin sadly is not at this show, so the temptations of you buying the Eze's off of him for this one won't be happening. But is there anything, because obviously Donruss has just released, so is there anything as well that could pull you in from Donruss?
Well, as you said, thank God Martin's not there. No offense to him, but every single time he's at a show I'm at, I buy something from him. So screw you, Martin. You take all my money. It's honestly like a middleman thing. He buys from Card Hobby, I buy the card off him. It's like a constant triangle cycle. But yeah, love you, Martin. Really, I know you're listening. Anyway, yeah, as you say, Donruss just released Eze. He's back in the autos, which is incredible, but also scary bank balance wise. Entered quite a few breaks. Unfortunately, I think I've only hit one auto of him, which is crazy. The one I want is the gold auto. I love my golds. People will have seen I've got a pretty big Eze gold collection. So yeah, gold Eze auto, gold optics. Him in an England shirt as well was just so cool. His first proper England card. In like a hobby set. So yeah, I'm all for that. And obviously coming soon, he's got immaculate patch autos for Palace and England, I think. So a lot of stuff coming up, which I'll be spending money on. In terms of other boxes or cards I'd be after, I don't know. If there's a card at a good price that I could potentially move on after, I'm not too sure. Maybe do that. Or yeah, I think it'll be mainly about selling for me this weekend, to be honest.
Yeah, famous last words. Don't worry, we will see in the vlog the pickups or a short reel that will come out. But like I say, it's going to be great fun this weekend. It always is at London Card Show. Obviously, we head up the day before, have a nice relaxation night, so we're there in the morning, ready to go. But obviously, last kind of message. Obviously, you'll be at your table with a load of slabs that we're looking forward to seeing. That famously, you're not going to try and sell any of them to me, which is a great idea because pretty much I would have bought them already. But obviously, any words of advice for anyone who's heading down to Sandown this weekend from obviously your perspective of maybe a tip to do or maybe not to do or just something that may help them with their day and experience?
I know it sounds cliche, but don't buy from the first table you see unless it is like a true grail card. Then yeah, fair enough, buy it. If for example, if I walked in and saw the Charlie Austin out of 25, I'd buy it. Don't care the price. Please don't upcharge me. Whoever has got that, because someone's got it.
Note to everyone: please put 1,000 Great British pounds on the card.
No. Someone's got it in the UK. I'm convinced of it. Someone has got an out 25. Yeah, just walk around, do a couple of laps. If you see any cards you like the look of, maybe take a picture, come back to it. Remember the location of the table vendor that you want to go over and see again. And again, feel free to make an offer on cards because, more often than not, I'd say vendors do, price above comps. So they're willing to negotiate down a little bit. Which is good, obviously. So you can get a little bit of a cheaper price on cards. And especially when going through flick throughs, take your time because there will be some hidden gems, not literally in these flick throughs, which you can take home and, potentially sell on for profit or add to your collection. It depends what you collect. So, yeah, just take your time, enjoy yourselves, watch the old vlogs from previous card shows to get an idea of the layout so you're not going in there completely blind. And, yeah, hope to see you as many of you as possible this weekend.
Yeah, like I said, we can't wait to see everyone this weekend. I'll be located at table 149 What are your? I know you're right next to me, but what table numbers are you?
I believe 146 and Dub 147.
Lovely. I see.
Yeah.
So if you find me, you find him. If you find him, you find me. And sadly, you have to part with Lav Collects in the middle. But like we say, I can't wait to obviously see you this weekend. Should be good fun. Obviously, I think we have a bit of crossover content planned as well, which should be quite fun. But like I say, it's already that week. So we will see you Saturday. And obviously, for other people, we'll see you Sunday as well.
Yep. See you then. Enjoy. And card show.
Well, there we go. That is a man who can't wait for the weekend. But like I say, a massive thanks for everyone joining so far. Obviously, Real Harry's World, obviously, who runs the London Card Show. Third Down as well. And a massive thanks to Third Down for Paris London Card Show Special. If you need any card supplies, custom card stands, great preparation kits, head over to their website, head over to their stall this weekend and use TTP10 at checkout for 10% off. But I hope everyone out there is staying well, doing safe. Most importantly, buying, selling, trading, and all that good jazz. We'll see you this weekend, and happy hobbying, and good night.
Bye.